Greetings from Pandora. Welcome to A Vault Hunter's Guide to the Borderlands, the best Borderlands podcast on the Echo Net. I'm Drew.
I'm Jeff.
Thanks for joining us today for episode number 11, where today we're going to be talking about our first impressions of Borderlands 3.
Woo!
Woo! But first, just a quick reminder that you can always get in contact with us via Twitter at vaulthunterspod or through our email, avaulthuntersguide@gmail.com. And don't forget, you can watch us record the podcast live on twitch.tv/avaulthuntersguide or watch the video version on YouTube by searching A Vault Hunter's Guide to the Borderlands. Holy shit. It feels totally surreal to be here at this point. Like it's not a future thing now. Now it's like we've done it. We've gotten our hands on it. We've played Borderlands 3.
We are no longer at hashtag 0.0 hours.
No, I'm at like hashtag like 12 or 14 hours.
No, dude, I checked it out. That's just on we're at 14 hours just on our playthrough together.
Oh, really? That's amazing. Okay,
yeah.
So then I'm at like hashtag like 18 or 20 hours then,
yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. So, which, over the course, like for two guys that both have full-time jobs over the course of 3 days, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'd agree. God bless my wife for putting up with this, and your wife's been playing with us, so I don't feel, like she's been loving it. My wife has been a friggin' saint this weekend.
It's the funniest thing. Like at one point, guys, you don't understand, and Drew has mentioned this to me, like he mentioned this later, that this was all pre-planned and everything like that, but his wife at one point was like, God, what she said, she was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go out for breakfast or something like that. And you're like, oh yeah, who are you going to go with? And then he was like sitting there helping me like kill stuff in Borderlands.
Yeah. Something like this. It ain't me. I'm clearly doing things. So yeah, it feels.
Yeah. To be fair, she wasn't saying about it. She's like, no. I know. I'm probably going to call one of my friends and we'll go out to breakfast. You do you. And so.
Right. She's been totally understanding. I think that I get like a 1 weekend pass at just doing Borderlands all weekend. Yep. But then after that, it's going to have to be like back to normal,
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, this weekend you actually need to mow the lawn and stuff like that.
Right.
So, but anyways, so it feels kind of ridiculous to say how was your past 2 weeks in the Borderlands, because we're gonna get to all that shit. So,
will we? We will.
So let's go ahead and just skip right over that and get straight into the news.
Why you sound so depressed about that?
Because the first topic in the news, like there's two topics and they kind of go hand in hand. There's been we'll fully admit, we'll steer into it. There's no apologies here or anything like that. There's a lot of issues with Borderlands 3. Okay,
mm-hmm.
Great game, I love it. It's got some issues that need to be worked out.
Right, and for people listening, and we'll get into this in the next part of it. To me, in no way, in any shape or form, does this make the game unplayable at all whatsoever. No. Whether you're a veteran or whether this is your first Borderlands game, this game is still way more than playable.
Yeah, absolutely. It just definitely though needs some updates done soon. Okay, so specifically let's not just generalize it. So some of the specifics here are. Me personally, the most frustrating thing for me has been opening up my skill tree. It takes forever sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I load into a new area or something, the first time I load into my menu can take a while. I'm talking like 15 seconds, a while, and that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, I'm not typically, hopping into my menu and swapping out weapons and updating and adding skills and stuff like that in the middle of firefights and everything.
Oh yeah.
But it can be crazy frustrating. Like if you are rocking some kind of weapon and you're out of ammo, so you got to go and swap to a different weapon. You better find some place to hide because it may take a while.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of other people are experiencing huge frame rate drops. Some other people are having major issues with split screen. I haven't tried split screen yet,
right?
But I mean, that's something that we've heard. That's all that I can think of off the top of my head. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, those are the main things. Just I've just noticed some frame rate issues, things like that. And the menu has been a little bit slow. I don't, for some reason, I don't think it's been as bad for me as it has been for you, which is kind of surprising because we're both playing on PS4. So
yeah, we're both playing on PS4. We're both using the exact same hard drive and specs and everything. In fact, my PlayStation's newer than yours is.
Yeah.
So it's really odd. Yeah. I have heard of some other people like they'll go to kill a target and the target's like not there. I don't know. There are a couple other things.
Yeah, and then there's some other small things that I've seen where like I've seen like someone might pull up a gun in their inventory and the gun just doesn't have a title, and that's because this was a weird thing. Did you hear about this at all?
I think so. Yeah, it's like the gun spawned with like impossible parts or something like that, so it's not able to actually do a thing. So the damage is 0 and weird
exactly.
stuff. Yeah, I have heard about that too.
Yeah.
I haven't run into that, but I have heard of that.
Again, these are we don't want to build this up. These are small things, and it has in no way impacted our enjoyment of the game at all. So
right, I mean I'm not going to knock anybody. They are totally legitimate gripes.
Mm-hmm.
It's also stuff that can be worked out. So have some patience. It's going to be fun. It's not like it. You're right. It doesn't make it unplayable. Like I know we've talked shit about this game a couple of times, but like Anthem, unplayable because you can't. There were no servers. Like there were server issues. And just the core functionality of like you can't even equip weapons and stuff until you get back to the home base.
Yeah, my wife couldn't even log into the game. Like literally.
Right. I mean that's game breaking. Can't like awful shit that ruins it for you.
Yeah.
Borderlands 3 is still 100% playable. So we said that ties into the next topic, which is a huge review bomb that people have been doing. If you're unaware, a review bomb is when you have issues with the game and you go and you leave a negative review on it and it's been and you don't even give it a chance to redeem itself before you go and leave a negative review on it.
Yeah. Or and this could be anything, honestly. It doesn't even have to be a game. This could be like a movie or a TV show or whatever.
Right. Like people have review bombed movies before they even came out because they didn't like who they chose for as actors for certain characters. And that doesn't make any sense to me. This, I kind of get it, but to me it still doesn't quite seem fair, like, because the game is still playable.
Well, and the thing is that it'd be different if they weren't. Here's the thing. They're not review bombing Borderlands 3. They're review bombing Borderlands 2 on Steam.
Yeah, which is
that's dumb. Like let's be honest. Yeah, like
that's dumb. Yeah. I mean, if you've I just don't understand that because Borderlands 2 stands alone on its own thing, as far as how good of a game it is.
Right.
And so to go and review bomb it just seems like a shitty thing to do.
It seems
like
petty.
Right. It's like you can't be grown up enough to separate those two things. And
mm-hmm.
I mean, you know what I didn't see? Maybe I just missed it, but I didn't see people go and review bombing Diablo 3 when they announced Diablo Eternal. Did that happen?
I will say this, I hadn't heard of such a thing, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did.
Right, exactly. So, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, to me that's a really strange thing. I don't know. I don't understand it. Give Borderlands 3 some time. Like, it's not, like we said, it's not game-breaking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. And honestly, in the grand scheme of things, this is still a very new venture for Gearbox. And you're like, well, what do you mean? This is the third game they've had to get it right. It's like, no, it's a very different beast from the other two games, or from the other 3 games, I guess I should say.
Yeah, as far as technical details and everything, it is an incredibly different game.
Mm-hmm.
It's functionally and stylistically, and as far as the writing goes, it's still all the same.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just it's the newest. What did Beth say the other day? Like, this is the first game that Gearbox has done on the new Unreal Engine. Stuff like that.
Unreal 4. Yep.
Yeah. So. Plus, there's some kind of system that they're using for online matchmaking on PC that they haven't used before. It's a little bit weird.
Yeah, there's a lot more social aspects to it. There's a lot of, everything is way bigger. Like the areas are bigger and everything like that. And they're playing with how you can actually load in areas and everything like that and how things work. So, it's a very, very different thing. So I'm sure they'll get, Well,
and sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but the funny thing to me is, so the gaming community can be so weird, right? So let's look at these facts right here. I feel like there's an overwhelming. Let's agree on 3 things, okay? Gamers, for the most part, have been speaking out against having the devs be overworked, right?
Correct.
It's been a major thing lately. It's why everybody's been praising Nintendo and everything for pushing back Animal Crossing and stuff like that, because they don't, like, as much as we love these games, we don't want the devs to get burned out and overworked.
Correct.
Which is great.
Right.
Also, when we're told a certain date that a game is going to be released, we want it released that date.
Correct.
Third, we want it to function perfectly, which is why, Nintendo is pushing back Animal Crossing, because they got some shit to work out, right?
Correct.
You can't have all 3 of those for the most part.
I would say that unless you are, unless this is, and let me put it this way, unless this is one of the big 3's, like, main flagship things, like, unless this is Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo's main thing that they're doing, I would agree with you on that. I would say that any second or third party title will still have some stuff. So,
right, exactly. And that's just how it is. I would have personally, I would have chosen ship it late, have it perfect, don't overwork the devs. That would have been my choice. Sure. I've been waiting 7 years for this game. I can wait another 6 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gearbox decided to not go that direction, and that's fine because we still got the game when we wanted it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And again, still in a very playable state that does not. I would say honestly, for 99% of people, is not going to ruin their enjoyment of the game.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we stand with the whole, performance issues and review bomb thing. It's a legitimate gripe, but that doesn't give you a right to review bomb other games that were amazing and shit all over it. And it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, go find a Borderlands 3 forum if you want to do that. Like,
yeah, for
honestly,
sure.
that's the advice I will give you. So, unfortunately, kind of a solemn note to end on the news, but that's where we're at. But now let's get into some really, really fun stuff. So,
yes.
So this is kind of where we go off on this. So, let's just talk about our experience so far just a little bit. So we've been playing, we started playing right away when we were able to on console, right away at midnight Eastern. We've just been having a blast. Like, honestly, we started out, like I said, it was myself and Drew and my wife Beth, and we've been playing basically on and off all weekend. If something has come up where, we couldn't play together or something like that, and then, like, usually, pretty much, unless we were all asleep, at some point, someone has been playing Borderlands. Like Drew and I are recording this now, Beth is currently starting a new solo character. Like, legit. I don't even think Drew knew about that, so.
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, so, she's starting up a solo Zane, by the way, which I think will be pretty fun. She's kind of trying to run, like, a pretty hefty, like, shield build, it looks like. So
cool.
Yeah, so she's doing, like, the actual, like, shield thing, and then the digit clone, so.
Nice,
yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, so, like, I didn't like I told you yesterday, we were playing yesterday as of this recording. We'd been playing all day long. My wife got home. I felt like spending some time with her, just kind of chilling and everything. So I went to offline mode on PlayStation and like played Borderlands solo while she chilled right next to me and we talked about our days and everything. So like,
right?
Because I still wanted to fucking play. Sorry, I forgot. I'm gonna be dropping a few F-bombs in this episode later, so I'll bleep them out for the audio version. But
no, it's all right. It's not a big deal. So
anyways,
don't worry. At this point, we're already tagged as explicit on the podcast websites. So
right.
So
I'm just so fucking hyped. Anyways, but yeah, so it's been so. If you haven't watched Jeff and I play, you can still go on Twitch.tv and watch our previous broadcasts and see what we're doing and what we're up to and how we're building our characters and everything. It's been a really good time.
Yeah.
I started off with a flak playthrough. I went into the build that we went over in episode 9 about. I did the build where it was a pet centric build around Gamma Burst and using the jabber to throw barrels and sorry, it was called Gun Monkey, and we basically maxed out. I was working on maxing out pet synergies, but I found partway through that in early game it seemed it's a little difficult to do. It's a little difficult to make it work out right, mainly because the cooldown time on Gamma Burst takes so friggin' long.
Yeah.
That it's difficult to make it happen regularly. So I respect into the critical hit build that we're doing, and that seems to be working out pretty well.
Yeah, maybe at endgame, you can go ahead and respec and maybe the pet build will work out a little bit better, but we'll just have to see at that point.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. But at this point, in early game, I'm gonna give you the advice now. Like in early game, stay away from the pet centric build and use it more of as a support instead of the main dish. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm really happy so far with the build that I worked on for Zane, which is the one where he kind of gets up and close to people with a shotgun, and that seems to work out really, really well. Especially because the way I'm running this thing right now, I've got the drone and the clone, and it's making it so that I have a stupid amount of gun damage when both of them are out, and when both of them are out, both of them stay out longer. So it's just a really cool synergistic thing. Although I will say that I'm not swapping in and out between myself and the clone as much as I thought I would. There is a slight cooldown on it. It's not much, but I just don't tend to do that as much. So, but maybe that'll change again later. So, and then Beth was running Amara in our playthrough because she just likes sirens, and so that's what she was doing, is that she was making it so that it was all around the elemental build and everything like that, and doing elemental damage, because I think she's got it set up right now to where she actually does more damage. She does more damage based off the amount of status effects that she's got going on people. So
yeah, so I did make an Amara solo playthrough that I'm going to be playing as, doing like a 100% run, trying to get all the different complete all the different challenges in all the different areas and everything. And that's the route that I was going to, because you can probably do a melee build in late game, but again, in early game, it just doesn't seem quite as easy to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotcha. So, I mean, yeah, no, so far the game has been fantastic though, and we're really enjoying it. So
it's been really, really good.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we've got a little bit of a surprise for you guys. We're going to go over some of the aspects that we talked about in the last episode, in episode 10. We're going to be speaking to them now. We can't cover everything just because we don't feel like we've spent enough time in game to be qualified about some of the aspects of it yet. So
right, because as of this recording, Jeff and I have like 14, probably like 18 combined game hours in here, and which is. I think that in 14 hours, if you just did straight storyline, I think you could beat Borderlands 2. 2 probably at least once.
Probably 1.5 times.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So
Borderlands 3 is not that game. It is much larger. It's going to take us a little while. So,
and we're still learning things too. So like, I'll admit that Drew and Beth and I, it's tough for all of us because all three of us are those people where we'll get taken aback really quick and be like, "Ooh, I wonder what this thing is over here." And so we might spend like an hour trying to do something, then just be like, "Oh, that's not a thing we can do yet." Like,
yeah. Like, I don't know how many times also, like, I've told Jeff we'll be playing, and I'm like, I hear you guys shooting stuff. I'm so friggin' lost right now, like, because I don't know these maps at all.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's going to take some getting used to, and we'll have a final review of the game, I don't know, probably in a couple months when we complete all of the actual main storyline stuff.
I do have just a little bit of housekeeping as far as something goes. There was a little tiny bit of news that we skipped over, and I don't think you even knew about it. So it was just something really quick that happened last night, where Randy Pitchford actually tweeted out a golden key on Twitter for the new golden chest that's on Sanctuary, but it was time locked. So from the time that he tweeted it out, you had about an hour to use it, and I was aware of it, but I didn't see it until this morning. So. Yeah, so I got my first look at it, and I opened up the golden chest for the first time. Oh man, like it's really pretty good. I got it opened up, and it does the whole thing where it like opens and then folds out onto the side as well, like that whole situation. There were 6 purples in there for me. So,
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it works the same way where we're not going to be able to find legendaries in there or not, like it does in Borderlands 2, or, what the situation is, because it's worked slightly different in Borderlands 1 where you can get legendaries, but it's only specific legendaries and things like that. But either way, now I was kind of bummed because I had just gotten a really, really nice shield, and this was all shields and grenade mods. So
womp, womp, womp.
I know I really wanted to see what actual kind of guns I could get, but still, I was still really, really nice. So be on the lookout for those. As we see those, if they're still up, we're gonna try and be more active about tweeting them out as well. Retweeting them. So just be aware on that kind of stuff. But anyway, we're gonna get into this, and we are going to into this. Do we want to? We did have a fan email that came through the other day as well, right?
Yeah. We had another email from Mike. He was talking about how much he's enjoying Borderlands 3 and how he's loving it, and asked for our advice on a couple of things he's playing. He has 2 characters made up. His brother's getting the game. Wanted to know what characters we should pair up with him. So shout out to Mike again for reaching out to us. Appreciate it, bud.
Yeah, thanks. So anyway, so we're getting
also special shout out real quick to our I want to call him like number 1 superfan Dreadnought. That dude is everywhere all the time, always watching us, always tweeting at us, always hitting us up.
Yeah,
superfan number 1.
Yeah, always hosting our streams and everything like that. So we really appreciate it, and we get busy, and so we don't always have as much time as we would like for fans and stuff like that. And it's not that we're too busy doing Borderlands things without the fans, because we'd like to do more of that. It's just, we do have full-time stuff going on as well, as far as jobs and families and whatnot. So
anyway, true story.
But
Jeff has 17 cats he has to take care of.
That's accurate. So it's not at all accurate. It's 2. They're pretty cool. So
but they're
anyway,
huge. So
what? You don't even know. You've never even met my cats. You've met one cat, and he bit you.
Yeah, he did. He's a fuck.
Anyway, so yeah, again, thanks, Dreadnought. We appreciate it. So anyway, getting right into this, I guess. So we're gonna go back over some of the questions that we had. Let's get this out. Let's get this out here. So Will's question from before about the opening scene music. So we both said that we would be really into. We would both be really into. God, I can't. Electric Worry. That's it. By Clutch, and
yes.
it was not that. Drew, do you want to go over what it actually was?
Yeah, so it's another song by The Heavy, who did the intro song for Borderlands 2, and they wrote the song specifically for Borderlands 3. It's called Put It On the Line. If Electric Worry by Clutch would have been a 10 out of 10, 7 out of 7, as far as opening cinematic music, I'm going to give Put It On the Line like a 6.5. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And they have very similar feels to them as well. Which
it really does. I was really shocked by that. It's got a really similar feel to it because it starts off really, just kind of simple and and a little bit quiet, and then it builds into this full blown, just ass kicking song, and I really really love it. And this intro cinematic is phenomenal. I'm really really pleased with it.
Yeah, the cinematic is really, really good as well. And then and I think this is all part of the same thing. Like, the Marcus voiceover is really, really good, and the animation for it is really good, too. I like that. So, yeah, overall, not the song we would have picked. Still a really good song to fit the vibe of what's going on, and The Heavy did a good job with it. So
yeah, and it is definitely much more of an upbeat kind of thing, because, like, No Heroes is just, it's a little, I don't know, it's a little glum, it's a little depressing sounding. Put It On the Line's very upbeat and, like, just super, super exciting, and sets the tone for a fun, exciting game.
I agree. So anyway, so here's something that we're going to run into. And we'll admit, so far, we have a lot of these opinions that are just kind of so far opinions. So, how good does the story have to be for you to not be disappointed? And I think my answer previously was it had to be at least as good as the Borderlands 1 story. And you said, like, out of 7, it had to be like a 4 out of 7 or something like that, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So, from what we've seen of the story so far, we have not reached the end of the story, and because we've just keep on starting new characters and everything. But so far, I enjoy the story so far. I think it's pretty good. I think it's as good as it has to be. This sounds weird. I think it's as good as it has to be for a Borderlands game. So
yeah, I would agree with that. It's. I'm not uninterested in the story. It's definitely compelling and interesting, and a lot of people, I think, I've read a couple of reviews where a couple of people said that the Calypsos, like, weren't as intriguing as Handsome Jack. I can't name hardly any video game big bad bosses, big BBEGs that are better, more well-written, and interesting characters than Handsome Jack. So that was something we maybe should have addressed last time, but I never anticipated the Calypsos to be as intriguing or nuanced as Handsome Jack, but at this point in the story, we've seen enough of them to where they're intriguing, and I'm seeing flashes of how evil and conniving and, I don't know, and calculated as handsome, as they should be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. And I think so far, as far as the basic storyline, it is kind of a Borderlands storyline. You always feel like you're just a step behind what everyone else is doing, and you're just struggling to keep up and everything like that. So it is the typical storyline as far as that goes. So
I think that we can also actually at this point kind of avoid. Like, I don't think that I know we said last time there are going to be spoilers and stuff. I think that we can actually speak to all this without giving away any spoilers at this point, because that's pretty much what we have as far as the story. There are a couple of things that we've come across that are that would be spoilery. So, but I think that we're just not going to talk about them at this point because we feel confident enough to discuss what we've seen without saying them. So
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so far I am satisfied enough with the story, and that's kind of my thing. Is some people are going to hate me for this, but I don't need a great story in order to shoot things in the face repeatedly.
Right. So going hand in hand with that, I told Jeff I was going to do this during this episode, and we figured now would be the right time. I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here. And it mainly has to do with some reviews that I read by professional journalists who review video games. And it has to do with the fact that a major thing that I've seen journalists cite as a negative in Borderlands 3 is the humor.
Mm-hmm.
And I told y'all I was going to be dropping some F-bombs in this episode. And here they is. It's fucking satire, people. Like, it's not... I don't know what these people are doing when they're playing this game, but I don't think that they have an understanding of what past Borderlands games were. Jeff, can you... The very first boss in Borderlands 1, what's his name?
His name is Nine Toes.
What does it say on his splash screen?
Also, he has 3 balls. And we've talked...
That's the kind of humor that you're getting in this game. And I've seen it described as like childish and asinine, and one dude straight up called it yucky. And it's like, have you even touched a Borderlands game before, this guy? That's what it's supposed to be. That's the whole point of it. They're not... You know what it's not? It's not fucking Frasier the looter shooter, okay? We're not going for goddamn highbrow, think pieces as I'm going along doing a quest where I'm gonna shoot a guy in the ass to get some extra money out of it. That's not what's happening here. So... And that's fine, and I get it. It is childish and asinine, and it can be yucky. But like, you gotta embrace the funny side of that. If not, you're not playing the right game series. If you want, incredible storyline and like go and play go and play Destiny, or go and play Tales from the Borderlands, because that has a little less of the raunchy humor, quote unquote. But the storyline is incredible in that game. Mm-hmm. It's so good. Mm-hmm. Don't play Borderlands then, if that's not what you're feeling. I feel like they mentioned stuff about how, it's the same old thing. No, it ain't. Because if that's true, then the humor would be outdated already. Because with Borderlands 2, when Anthony Birch wrote that, you would have memes that would last for months or, years. And so you could put them into the game and it was fine. If you did that now, it'd be over already. We'd be seeing memes from last year. We'd be seeing, do you know the way memes and shit. And that would be terrible. So the fact that we're not seeing all that stuff is so refreshing to me. I was so happy to not see any kind of referential humor or anything. And it goes back to more of the old, Borderlands 1 style of like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And granted, they take a lot of shots, but every now and then that shit lands, and it's really hilarious. And in a world right now where like you either like hate the president or you hate the people that hate the president, and where there's war constantly and just all this other crazy bullshit, isn't it fine to just fucking laugh at a turd joke every now and then? Quit taking yourself so goddamn seriously. I don't play Borderlands to look for to not escape the everyday. You know what I mean? Like, there's people who can't, who are going through some serious shit right now, and to just be able to laugh at something absurd and ridiculous like a pony named Butt Stallion is totally fine. So maybe take yourselves and take Borderlands a little less seriously, because when it comes to gameplay and and all that shit, the game is money, all right? So I'm not expecting everybody to enjoy all the same humor. You know what I mean? So I gave this example to my wife yesterday when I was talking about this. When you watch the movie Elf, right? Have you seen Elf, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So during the one scene, he like covers his spaghetti with chocolate syrup and M&Ms and all this other bullshit. And you know who laughs at that? Fucking everybody. Because it's funny. You don't... if some old guy, if some, 60-year-old dude is like, I don't find that entertaining. Well, you should probably not be watching this movie then. But me, as a 30-something, I can sit down and watch it with my kid and they can laugh at it, or I could sit down and watch it with my parents and they can laugh at it because it's funny, because we're not expecting to take this thing seriously. So settle down. If you don't like it, go play something else. All right?
That was like a whole thing. You all right?
I'm tired now. Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
It really pissed me off because I saw it was like across the board, multiple reviews said that, and I'm like, you didn't know what you were getting into then.
Like it was like the popular thing to like shit on it.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's kind of where I stand on that. Moving on.
Do you got a water bottle there? I'm scared for you right now.
I got a water. I'm good.
All right. Okay, good. So, I appreciate that rant. I think it was a solid rant.
Gracias.
So, no problem. So yeah. From
now I feel like we should have put it at the end just because it's like, all right, where do we go from here?
I mean, no, it's fine, and I think you have several valid points, and it makes sense, and I think that's the thing is that I have the right to laugh at whatever I want, and people have the right to tell me that I'm childish or whatever about it, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. So anyway, moving along. I mean, we kind of covered the general storyline premise and everything like that. So, any major character deaths? So far from what we've seen, there have not been any major character deaths. There are a couple of key players that are kind of missing, though, that we haven't gotten into. So
yeah, I mean, do you want to talk about that or no?
Look, this is really the first point where this actually matters. So we will say, I'm going here right now and saying that there will be some spoilers in this episode. Some very minor spoilers that aren't really necessarily story type things ish, but there will be some spoilers in here. So we're just going to leave it at that. If you don't want to be spoiled, then we appreciate you checking out this far into the podcast. So, I could do the professional thing and do a dub over and tell you, where the spoilers end. That's a lot of work, and I'm not going to do that.
Maybe we'll put it in the show notes.
Anyway, so going with spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Where is Zed?
Yeah, that's the first question. Where the hell is that guy?
Yeah,
you see his med vendors and shit.
Yeah,
where the hell is he?
Yeah, like they just haven't even mentioned him yet. It's super weird.
It's so odd. I'm hoping that we're not all the way through the game. I'm hoping that we see him on Eden 6 or something. He's in hiding. I don't know.
Well, and the thing is that means that Tannis is now in the infirmary, and that scares me more than having Zed in the infirmary, honestly.
Yeah, because she would be like, "Oh man, that is a really interesting injury. So I'm gonna let you suffer and see how long it takes you to die from that."
Right,
as opposed to Zed, pulling a Farnsworth and being like, "There's only one thing that can save you, possibly this thing."
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's a Zed move. So
yeah, so we haven't seen Zed yet. We don't know where he is. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. So far we still have only seen. As far as the previous Vault Hunters go, from Borderlands 2, we've still only seen Athena, or not Athena, Maya so far.
Right.
So, really, really strange there. And I get it. There's a big cast. They might have to cut it down and everything like that. So, but, we'll see where it goes. So yeah, so far, no major character deaths. And, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Next question on here: will Handsome Jack be in the game at all? I don't know. If he is, he hasn't been in there yet.
Yeah, the most that we've seen is that there was a reference to him of a Handsome Jack superfan called Handsome Jackie.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was literally it. I don't think.
Not gonna lie, we messed her up.
We did mess her up. She got laid out. So, but
yeah. There's also like it's not like they're ignoring that Handsome Jack is a thing. It's just because you can get there's a weapon trinket that's like a Handsome Jack mask that like hangs as like a little keychain kind of thing from your gun.
Mm-hmm.
Also, so I thought that it was weird though. I want to say it was Vaughn that says that the Calypsos are like the most evil people that he's ever seen on Pandora, and it's like, you worked for Hyperion. How do you not? Like, at this point, unless the Calypsos are straight up cannibals or something, I'm not seeing it.
Well, I mean, they kind of are.
Kind of, but not like full on. I mean, at this point, they're not like full on, like, we're literally killing and eating people. You know what I mean?
No, but they are. I mean, like, spoilers again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As a siren, I mean, she is consuming people to help keep her brother alive, though.
True, but so they're just killing him.
Oh, that's all. That's all they're doing.
All right, I guess that's all Handsome Jack was doing too. But I don't know. For some reason, he still seems more evil to me than the Calypsos.
Well, it's because he's menacing, and he always thought that he was doing the right thing.
Yeah, maybe that's the part that freaks me out the most, is that he did like they're not doing it because they think it's the right thing. They're doing what they're doing because they feel they have a right to do so. And whereas Handsome Jack is like a true, even though Tyrene and Troy are definitely sociopaths, Handsome Jack was like a maniacal, psychotic sociopath with delusions of grandeur and and as all that comes out of my mouth, the back of my brain is going, yeah, but so are the Calypsos. It's like, yeah, but okay, but if Handsome Jack is a 10 across the board on all those, and the Calypsos are just narcissistic and, less so sociopaths and shit. So
right. And the other big thing is that, I don't know, they both kind of do the same thing where they only use people as a means to an end. Like, people have no value to them. But at the same time, the Calypsos know that they wouldn't be anything without their army and without their people.
Yeah, they fully acknowledge it. They discuss, because they talk to you constantly.
Yeah.
She fully acknowledges that the army of bandits that they have are willing to fight and die for them, and maybe that's how we beat them in the end. Is we reveal that they're not gods, and that and so the army turns on them, and so then they've just got them. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, at the end of it, even though Jack felt that he didn't need people, he didn't need anyone. All he needed was himself, and he was confident that he could take on literally the entire galaxy just by himself. And he was
right.
yeah, he was right. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. So, like, even when his daughter was killed, like, even at that point, he was like, nope, I've still got this, even though I no longer have, an all-knowing, all-seeing, siren daughter that can link into any machine on, anywhere. I still got this.
Yeah, and he did, and he did this.
I was gonna say he did, though. Like,
yeah. So
yeah, we kind of got off the rails there, but Handsome Jack is not in the game.
So I don't remember whose turn it is. What mechanic do you think you will like the most? Sliding and mantling, or the interactive environment?
So I'm a sucker for jumping puzzles, and I really, really like the mantling thing. Like, I'm not sure, but did you do, because Beth and I did this, there's, that's one of the other things, one of the other challenges in there. There's like the radio thing where you got to go turn off all the radios for Tannis, so it stops spouting stuff.
The Typhon de Leon.
No, this is a separate thing. Oh no, sorry, this is for Moxie. My bad. The Moxie thing where she's like, "Hey, I'm sick of hearing the Calypsos all the time, but they've got radios everywhere, so turn them off so you can like, that thing."
I do remember that now.
Dude, there's one that's like a crazy jumping puzzle on Athenas, and I had so much fun like trying to figure it out. Be like, well, if I can't do this here, then maybe I can do it over here, or maybe I can do that there. Like, it took me like 10 minutes just to like on this one jumping puzzle to figure it out. But I was very satisfied because like I was at like the very top of a tower, like the highest tower in Athenas, like looking down on everything. And that as soon as I was done doing my thing up there, I did a butt slam off that mofo. Like
you just yeeted yourself off the side.
I did. I totally did. So it was fun, but I mean, it's still like tied with the interactive environment, honestly. Like sliding into a barrel and kicking it and then exploding it over a bunch of bandits is really satisfying.
Yeah, I haven't been able to do that yet. I gotta say though, I'm mantling everything.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I could climb this thing. I could climb that thing. I'm gonna climb this thing. Maybe there's a chest. Most of the time there's not. But I just like the fact that I can climb on everything now.
Agreed.
So for me, it's mantling. For you, it's mantling as well. You would say?
Probably, most likely, yeah.
Because I'll be honest, like the interactive environment thing, we saw that in the gameplay. In the original gameplay reveal, they shot the pipe and then they lit the oil on fire. I just have a real hard time paying attention to that stuff when I'm trying to not die.
Agreed. Yeah.
So I feel like the more repetition that I get with the game, the more times I play through it, the more I'm going to see that stuff, and I'll be like, oh, I'll bet you I could do something with that and do cool shit. But at this point, I can't, and so I just do a lot of mantling and exploring and seeing if I can find chests everywhere.
Yep. So, all right. So, we can talk to this. So, first solo playthrough character so far?
Yeah, so I had one that I thought was going to be a solo character, but then you roped me into playing with you guys again.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, how dare you son of a bitch. So I started a Moe's playthrough, and that has been a whole lot of fun, actually. Mm-hmm. I really was enjoying that. I'm doing the build where when I get back inside my giant mechanical bear, you better watch out. The 1.0. And it's all based around maximizing Moe's shields and maximizing Iron Bear's damage. Go check out episode 9 for that build. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fun because like we were playing together, not on stream, sorry, and it was working pretty well because if I remember right, you were playing as Amara.
I was playing as Amara. Beth was playing as Flack.
Right. And so you guys were doing pretty well at one-on-one combat, and you're just like at one point we're playing and we're headed into the Holy Broadcast Center, and you're like, "Oh, there's a badass over here," and I just whop like into the Iron Bear, and just and you're like, "Jesus Christ!" Like it was just I straight messed that dude up, and that's super fun. Or like when there's a group of enemies, I can't even see because there's so much fire and all this other shit going on everywhere, and I'm just destroying this entire mob, and it's a lot of fun. It's a really great way to play. My first true solo playthrough though so far has been Amara. I talked about that a little bit. I'm doing like the elemental style build there, and it's been a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm doing a 100% run. I'm probably going to be streaming that on our Twitch page on the regular at some point. Yeah. So check that out. It's cool. It works nice because there's always like a bigger boss that I get with Phase Grasp and kind of work on the other, and I either take it out or take out the smaller mobs in the meantime. And
sure.
And it's nice. And as I get more and more elemental weapons, it's gonna be even better.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, I actually have not started a solo playthrough yet, but my first one will be Moe's, and I'm going to be starting that with with you guys on stream. So I plan on actually doing the same one that Drew is, because I think his Moe's build that he's doing with Beth and I is going to be something where it's not for streaming purposes. It's for friendship purposes.
As yeah, it's for personal enjoyment.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm really curious to see how a true solo Moe's works out. And the nice thing is, if I don't like that, then I'm definitely going to go with the splash damage and grenades and things like that, which is the other one. So, which also you can check that out on episode 9, that was the things that make you go boom.
Yeah.
Idea. So I'm really excited about it. Like, as soon as I saw Drew playing Moe's, I knew I was going to have a good time with it, because I really underrated how that looked and how cool that seemed from a third person perspective. Because like all of a sudden he just came in from the side of my screen and it's just like bump bump bump, you know? and like we're like level 2. And I'm like, what is that? Is that a laser? And he's like, nah, it's a railgun. And I'm like, sick. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. So the only one that I don't have any FaceTime with at this point is Zane.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that works. But I really enjoy Flak. I'm really enjoying Amara. I'm really enjoying Moe's. All 3 of them are pretty good, and we'll discuss them a little bit more later. Next question, though. How good will radiation be?
I'm going to go on record here and say that I kind of called this one a little bit. I think radiation works exactly as we thought it would. And I think it works really well as far as, because it does like a little bit of damage over time and everything like that. And it also increases damage and it spreads to other people. So it does kind of tend to work a little bit like corrosion did in Borderlands 1. And it's really good. It's really fun. Like if I see a gun with radiation on it, I tend to gravitate towards that a little bit, honestly.
Yeah, the first version of Flak that I was playing as used Gamma Burst, which opens a rift in space, and basically your pet runs through there and just starts jacking things up. And I was using the Jabber because the Jabber is able to dig up radiation barrels. And then also I had an action skill augment where the Jabber had emanated radiation while in Gamma Blast. And it's really, really fun, and it messes people up. There was a couple of times when we're fighting things and just using Gamma Burst, not Gamma Blast. Gamma Burst, and then sending the Jabber through there, and then locking onto an enemy and having the Jabber throw a radiation barrel at it. You could, for a reasonable sized enemy, you could reduce their health by like a third without even doing anything else. And that was really, really solid. Like I said, the only problem was that the cooldown on Gamma Burst was so friggin' long that I just couldn't do it reliably enough and quickly enough, in my opinion. But I agree. I tend to, if I'm playing, I will take a radiation weapon against pretty much everything unless they have a specific thing that they are vulnerable to.
Sure. Yeah. Like if someone's got a big shield, you obviously want a shock weapon instead, or whatever.
Right. Or if they're armored, you're using corrosion, etc. But radiation is a nice middle of the road catch-all that helps get dots on everything. So that's really pretty cool. I've been saved by that a lot of times too. I'll light something up with radiation damage and you go in to fight for my life, and I'm like, there is nobody around at this point. But I'll be revived off of dots of something I shot a while ago. Yep. So it's nice.
Yeah, so it is really good. So all right, so this is a fun one because I think this is very different from what we initially thought. So which gun manufacturer do you see yourself gravitating towards? Oh, what's that look for, Drew?
I've been using so much Vladov and doll shit, it's ridiculous.
Because you initially thought you were going to use a ton of Jacob's stuff, right?
Yeah, I thought that I was going to do a lot of Jacob's and Malawan stuff, and I think I have to accept it at this point. Jacob's sniper rifles are never ever again going to be as powerful as they were in Borderlands 1.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were super OP in Borderlands 1.
They really were. Yeah.
And, like, there's nothing wrong with them. And I actually am still rocking... I'll still rock one if it's good enough now, because when you get most of them have this secondary ability to where if you get a critical hit with them, with a sniper rifle, it'll or with a Jacob's weapon, it'll ricochet. And it'll take, do additional damage to other mobs around you and stuff. It's just not as powerful as it used to be in Borderlands 1, and it's fine. So I've been using a lot of Dahl and a lot of Vladoff stuff, including sniper rifles, which seems weird because it is, but I don't know what else to do. The Vladoff stuff has a great fire rate on it. Dahl stuff is really, really good in burst mode, and what the Dahl sniper rifles seem to do is, like, in burst mode, you've got a certain zoom. Let's call it 5, right? 5x zoom.
Yeah.
But then they'll go, like, full auto, but have, like, 25 times zoom. And you think, that sounds fantastic. And it is, if you're all the way across the other side of the map from somebody. If you're within a reasonable, normal shooting distance, anything over, like, 15 makes it a bitch to actually get your reticle on somebody.
And I can actually back that up. So it is kind of a pain.
Yeah, because I showed it to you. I was like, this thing's terrible to try to get somebody from far away with, and you're like, and I explained it to you, and you're like, that seems backwards. Why would you be bummed about that? And I was like, here, take this thing. I'll show you. And I went over at a reasonable sniping distance, and you, like, tried to get a reticle on me, and all I did was just move a little bit, and you have to. It's just a huge pain in the butt.
Yeah.
It's great though if you do have a huge open area and you can stay way far away. But other than that, I pretty much just use burst mode anyways, and I'll just throw 3-4 rounds into a guy and get him down to nearly nothing and let somebody else finish him off. So.
Yep. So.
Oh, and also, so my answers were Jacobs and Malawan, and Malawan works totally different than I expected. Also, in that you have to charge up your shots, which again is fine. It just works differently than I'm used to.
Right.
Because Malawan's just known for we do elemental damage. Well, now you have to, like, charge up your shot, which
regardless of the weapon type.
Right.
Yeah. Shotgun, pistol, whatever. Sniper rifle, anything.
Yeah, which doesn't. And I thought that would bother me, and it did at first because I just, I would pull the trigger and it would start to charge and be like, whoop, but then it would, like, go away because I let off the trigger.
Yeah, because you just tap the trigger instead of actually
right.
holding it. Yeah.
So what it is more is, think of it as, like, it's charging up essentially, and it works as a semi-auto once it's fully charged. So I don't have an issue with that. Or no, it actually works as, like, a slow full auto because you only need to. Because you don't need to let go of the trigger. So if I'm shooting a guy from far away, I pull the trigger and it goes, whoop, and then it bang, 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 bang until I'm out. If I don't release my trigger.
Sure.
So, and I'm fine with that because, again, what I'll do is I'll get a reticle on somebody, let's say I get him down to only a quarter of his life. At that point, I'll release the trigger because since it's a Malawan, I've probably doing some kind of elemental damage to him, and I'll let that whittle him down to nearly nothing or to kill them.
Right.
So, I mean, and that's working out best in a team scenario where you and another player are closer, and whereas I'm staying back and kind of doing, as much damage as I can, but I don't want to waste ammo by totally killing them.
Sure.
Because if I did it again, then I'd have like 3-4 shots that do nothing.
Sure.
And I just don't see the point in that when you guys are already in the fray.
No, I got you. No, that makes total sense.
So that's how Jacobs and Malawan have been working. like I said, I'm not crazy about what's up with Jacobs just because it's not super OP. I know it's a dumb thing to get mad about, but I am. And Malawan is different, but it's fine. I don't have an issue with it. I see myself rocking a shit ton of Malawan with Amara in this elemental build that I'm doing.
Perfect. All right. Myself personally, I am actually really, really liking. Specifically, I'm really liking Hyperion stuff, which is weird to say because I've never really liked Hyperion things. Hyperion shotguns, especially, and it's mainly because I'm using them a lot on my Zane build, and that works great because Hyperion shotguns have the shield, which is really, really nice. And it's got the shield, and it still does the thing where it gets more accurate and everything like that. And it's really, really nice because I can just go in there, and again, as I mentioned earlier, if I have both of my action skills up, I'm doing a stupid amount of extra damage on there from having both those up. And then I can just walk in slowly to a guy with my shotgun that's got a shield up, and the shield is blocking stuff, but I can go ahead and still just hold down the trigger, and it gets more accurate, and just point that thing right up his nose. And then as soon as I do that, I generally just bop out because I actually leave my clone a little bit further away as like an escape kind of a thing almost now. Yep. Which I thought I was going to be using it the other way. I thought I was going to be using it to get in close to enemies, and I'm actually using it as like an escape kind of a thing. But it still works out really well. So I really like that. And again, I actually do really, I'm sitting here the entire time and I was thinking of an answer, and then I realized that it's probably not the correct answer, which is that for myself, I'm actually really enjoying Atlas guns a lot. They're just very, very consistent from what I've seen. And every once in a while, having that homing shot that they do, the smart bullets, is really, really nice. Like, if I've got an annoying flying enemy, I can hit them once with the tracker, and then just as long as I get even close to them with the smart bullets, it works out, and they take damage from it. So it's really, really nice to be able to do that. And I don't feel like it's like gimmicky or anything like that. It feels natural to be able to do it. But like I've had enemies flying up in the air, and I've just hit them once with that, and it works out really, really well. So yeah,
nice.
surprisingly, that's kind of the thing. I'm really enjoying Hyperions, and especially for shotguns. And then I'm actually not enjoying Molly 1 stuff as much. The whole charge shot thing, I've never been a fan of. Really in any game, because there have been a couple other games where it's been similar, but I've just not been a fan of it. So,
well, and it was similar in Borderlands 1 with like the Iridian style sniper rifles. You would like charge up your shot and let it go. But I feel like that was such a slow moving projectile that it was basically useless. Whereas in BL3, the bullet has normal travel speed and everything, so it doesn't affect me as much. Quick sidebar about those Hyperion weapons. The other cool thing about it is that a lot of them have that ability to where if you take any shots in the shield, your next shot is amplified some.
Yeah, which is really pretty cool. So
that's really, really cool.
Yeah, and again, that works out great for the shotgun build I'm doing. So
yeah. How weird is it though that like out of the 4 manufacturers that we thought separately we thought we'd be using, we're using 3 different ones. That's really, really interesting.
I will say though, as far as like doll weapons go, I do actually like doll weapons pretty good too. It was a debate between Atlas and doll, which is weird because I've never liked doll stuff. Doll stuff was okay. I mean, like, here's the thing, and we'll be honest about this. Borderlands 1, the name on the gun wasn't as big of a deal as the specs on it. So, I mean, Jacobs, they still had slight differences and stuff like that, but for the most part, you just picked up the gun, and if it had more green numbers than red numbers, then you got it,
right. Yeah, and then there was a big shift in Borderlands 2 where it actually made a difference as to who manufactured it, and that has held true in Borderlands 3. It's really, you're right. Sorry, you were on a thing about doll though. We've never. I think that you and I actually, the only doll that we ever recommended was in our very first episode. We talked about like if you're gonna get an assault rifle, I guess you should get a doll.
That's pretty much it. Like,
but now, doll is I don't know if it's that everything else is a little bit worse or if Doll's a little bit better, but somehow they're all fairly equal. It just kind of depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the thing. They don't feel gimmicky anymore. They feel, and I don't even think this is the right word to describe it. They feel nuanced. I guess.
It feels. Are you talking Doll specifically, or like all manufacturers?
Like all manufacturers. Like they don't feel like gimmicky. It's like, oh well, if you want as many bullets as you can pump out, then get a Vladoff, and everything like that. It's that they all are pretty good, and generally, again, if it's got more green numbers than red numbers, I'm not going to turn my nose up at it. But there's still enough to consider, even with the number differences and the spec differences, to still take it into account, and that's cool.
Yeah, I agree, because it does seem like a really natural progression that 7 years ago the manufacturers were at this point, and now this many years later they're at this point, which is they're like, we have a gun that does explosive damage, and it's like, hey, now that explosive damage that you love works as like a sticky grenade kind of thing.
Yeah,
and that's just so cool, and it just seems like it almost adds like a layer of realness to it, as like okay, not only does Gearbox have R&D teams being like, okay, where what are we doing with this game, it's almost like within that they have, okay, you work for these guys, where do you take this style of weapon? Mm-hmm. So, and that's just super, super neat to me. Kudos to Gearbox on getting the weapons right.
Mm-hmm.
And because but as with all things, just because it's new doesn't make it better.
Right.
So
yeah, I'm going to equate this to something that's maybe some people out there can relate to, and I'm hoping so more. And I could probably relate it to real world firearms, but I feel like this is probably going to be a better way of going about it. You got to think about it this way. Like, the cool thing is that we've seen is that the way that I would describe how we've seen the gun manufacturers adapt and change over the games is similar to guitars. And Andrew, you probably have an idea where I'm going with this, but like back in the day when all these guitar manufacturers started coming out, it's like, hey, guess what? It's got 6 strings and it makes sound. Like,
right.
Like that was kind of the thing, and we're seeing that as time goes on, they're changing. It's like, all right, well, so what are we gonna do? And then people started coming out with these crazy things, and it's like, well, this guitar is way better than everyone else's guitar because it's got 32 different tonal options on it, or this guitar is, has no headstock for tuning stability, or all this kind of stuff. And now we've kind of shifted back to where it's like, hey, guess what? That guitar that doesn't have a headstock and it's got tuning stability, we want to make it even more stable now. So we're going to give you frets that instead of are straight up and down, they're in a fan shape across the fretboard, because that's actually better for your strings and easier for playing. And someone's like, okay, well, we're not going to do that. We've instead of doing that, we're actually making it so that you can pull and push this knob out, and instead it actually separates the signal from between the pickups that actually pick up the sound and everything like that. So you can have everything from a 1980s BC Rich Mockingbird to a Fender Stratocaster, stuff like that. So, and it kind of goes along that same thing. Maybe I got a little too into the weeds on guitar there, but I feel like there are some people that are going to appreciate that. It's like anything else, it's same thing with same thing with people that play board games, where it's like, hey, you roll a dice and you move around, to now it's like, now you've got specific players and this card can do this and this card can do this, or, now you've got, I don't know, just anything, anything like that. I mean, look at cars even. Cars are the same way.
That's the analogy that I would use as cars, is like, because, 30 years ago, your cars had radios and a cassette player, and they were pretty much all the same. That's an analogy for Borderlands 1. They're all basically the same. They kind of do different things depending on functionality. And then you get to like 15 years ago, and now we're getting 15 or 10 years ago, and now we're getting into, some of them have Bluetooth, and some of them have backup sensors, and some of them have this and that. And that's pretty cool. And now we're getting into stuff to where it's like some of them have touch screens and backup cameras and turn sensors and all that stuff, which can be great, but it can also simultaneously be overwhelming and sometimes unnecessary. Because you know what I don't need to do as a man who lives in the frozen north, not Canada, but basically, you know what I can't do in a vehicle with a touchscreen? I can't operate that thing with gloves on. Okay? That does me no good.
Yep.
So, thanks for the technology advance, I guess. You know.
Meanwhile, there's some companies out there getting rich off touchscreen gloves. Like,
right. Now I'm gonna buy special gloves for this shit. So it's just a split of like things can go. It's all in how you use it. So, but it's kudos to them for making everything seem like everything is really well balanced as far as guns go. Like, nothing is exceptionally amazing, but nothing's terrible. It all just depends on how you use it. That question took a lot longer than I expected.
Yeah, but it was a fun one, though.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so here's another one that we kind of can answer, but not really. Which planet do you see yourself enjoying the most? We both answered Eden 6, and neither one of us has been there.
Surprise. So, I like Athenas. I wish that there was more done with it so far, because I think Beth and I pretty much did everything that we can do on it so far. And
I kind of hope that we go back there later, because it's gorgeous and just a really nice change from Pandora. Promethea has been a really good time too, although the maps on Promethea can get super complicated, and we can get separated, and it'll take forever for us to get back together.
Yep.
But it's still a super good time. Promethea is cool. Pandora is still awesome. Athenas so far has been my favorite out of the places we've been to.
And Athenas is where I got my first legendary drop.
Nice. What was it? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was the Brainstormer or Brainstorm, I think. So we got that from a quest that you found. That was where you found that Hammerlock quest for the Chupacabratch.
Oh, right.
So, and that was wicked fun. I don't think that's a specific drop. I think that was a world drop on that. Cool. So,
yeah, because I don't remember, because I didn't get that thing from there. Even though we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah. So, but that thing was wicked fun. So, all right. Here's going to be a pretty easy one. Which mode intrigues you more, classic or instanced?
3, 2, 1.
Instanced. Easy.
Absolutely.
Dude, it's so nice to be able to do it, because it's just nice, because we can go through it, and you're getting you're getting more loot out of it. It's like, well, you're only getting your loot. Yeah, but when you're playing with other people, it's a co-op thing, so you can be like, hey, does somebody need this? Does somebody need, does somebody want a Hyperion shotgun that has fire damage on it? Someone can be like, yeah. And it's like, all right, you just grab it and then you throw it on the ground and you're good. Yeah, we know we can use the trade system. No one's using the trade system.
At me. I dare you. Say something about it. It's really been like, we thought that we were going to use classic for just the three of us playing together, and we thought that we had that set up when we went into the game, but we didn't, and then we were like, oh man, this is way better.
It's way better. I'm looking at it now, and I'm not sure I can really think of a reason, because they make it so simple. I mean, that's all you have to do. It's like, it's not even like you have to go through anything complicated. Again, you call something out, be like, hey, does somebody want this? If somebody does, you grab it, you throw it on the ground. It's literally that easy.
Yep. That's all you do. And we're still doing that same kind of thing, and we're looking out for each other. Like I'll be like, hey, Beth, I found a Malawan SMG that does corrosion and shock. You want it? And she'll be like, I'll take a look at it. X menu triangle, and she's like, oh, that's pretty sweet, but I've got one that's a little better, and that's fine, because then I can either pick it up again and sell it, or she can sell it. I don't really care.
Yeah.
But if we're playing and we open a chest and you find a purple sniper rifle, and I find a blue shotgun, we can in the same slot. It's fine, it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
So it depending on the number of people that you've got playing, it multiplies your chances of good loot by that many. If you're playing with 2 people, it doubles your chance. If you're playing with 3 people, it triples it, etc.
Yeah. Literally the only thing that could be any easier than the way they have it set up is if there was something where you could if you could use the D-pad or a thumbstick or something like that to mark something, be like, hey, does anyone want this? And then you go, could you imagine this? So you'd be like, hey, does anyone want this? You say, yeah, I want that. You go and you say left click on the thumbstick over the item card, and instantly it pops in everyone else's game.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Wouldn't it? So, and I'm only using left thumbstick as the option because I honestly don't remember what the left thumbstick does in Borderlands 3 right now.
Wait, you don't remember what the left thumbstick does?
Oh, it's sprint, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
God,
what do you walk everywhere? Weirdo.
So what's the right thumbstick?
Melee.
I've been up for too long.
All right, next question.
Look, it's second nature at this point, all right? It's all just muscle memory.
Yeah, that's true. You be like, I can do it. I can't explain it, though.
Yep.
How well will things be balanced? Will dots matter? Are things balanced around one character? This is probably the most impressive thing, technically, in my opinion, from Borderlands 3, is that at this point, everything is incredibly balanced.
Mm-hmm.
We have had, so our main playthrough, me as Flack, you as Zane, and Beth as Amara, it's very, very well balanced. Because like I said, I'm doing more of the long range kind of thing, and you guys are doing the face-to-face kind of thing, and we're all doing, pretty good amounts of damage. It seems to be working out extremely well.
Mm-hmm. You'll always have those 1 or 2 bosses or 1 or 2 enemy types where someone might be a little bit more geared towards it, but it's okay because it evens out and it really does actually balance out that for everything that you're good at, you're also going to be poor at something else that somebody can pick up the slack with.
Right. For example, it was difficult. Quick spoiler again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you're fighting the what is it? Katagawa's ship or whatever. The Katagawa ball. That's it.
Yeah.
The Katagawa ball. I had a really tough time being productive in that fight because that arena is so small. Mm-hmm. I couldn't get far enough away to do any decent sniping and everything, and that thing moved around so much. And also, when you do, at the time I was still running Gamma Burst, it was, when you do Gamma Burst, you want to have a decent distance away from it because it will put dots on you as well. So I wanted to get some space away from it, but you guys had to be you guys were right on top of it. So that fight was difficult for me, but there have been other fights where things worked out fine, So like you said, it is a balancing kind of thing, and when if you're awesome at long range, you're probably gonna suck at short range, etc.
So yeah, things seem to be very, very well balanced so far. I'm excited to see how this carries over into endgame content, but I believe that was a huge chunk of the reason why this took so long to do was because let's be honest, there were very specific builds in Borderlands 2, and I'm sure there will be with 3 as well. But it was kind of a thing where if you didn't do almost exactly these things, you weren't going to have a good time in Borderlands 2. Yeah. And I feel that there's going to be much more variety in Borderlands 3.
Yep, agreed.
So, all right. And then the last one, we can kind of talk to this maybe a little bit. We'll find out. What character can you see having a viable build that would generally seem unsuited to them along the lines of Sniper Maya or Melee Mordecai? Keeping in mind that we have not reached endgame content yet.
I'm still... I said last time that I'm struggling to picture what would be really outside the box as far as builds go, and I'm still kind of there.
Okay.
Like I see all the skills and I know what I'm doing and I know what kind of builds I'm going for. But right now I'm just trying to maximize the builds that I feel like they're kind of steering you towards.
Sure.
I'm trying to play those as best I can, and I don't even know if I'm doing a good job at it or not,
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out. I feel like I'll find out more through more solo play than anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just got way more time into 3-person co-op than I do anything else. So, but so at this point for me, it's still too early to say. What about you? Do you have some ideas of like, I think I can put this together?
Sure. It's kind of a challenge, but I mean, thinking about what I've seen so far, I still think the only one that has a decent chance is Infinite Grenade Zane.
yeah, that build's gonna be sick. I feel like it's gonna end up being super OP if it works like we think it does.
Yeah, just
if you find an Infinity, you're respecing into that build, right?
Oh, hell yeah, absolutely. So,
all right, cool.
So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes, and I'm sure that someone's going to find it if it hasn't already been found. Stuff moves quick nowadays, so
yeah, anyway. For sure.
So I think that's about it. Although we do have a little bit of late news that we want to discuss with you guys real quick. Drew actually found out that he's going to have a little bit of extra time coming up. Well, I guess technically this will be. This will
for
be,
at least a week. So.
Yeah, for at least a week. So, and granted, we know the episode comes out on Thursday, so you may have not had the opportunity to see some of these yet. But Drew's going to try and test out a little bit of a streaming schedule. Just with the kind of work that he does, he has a little bit more time during winter, but he's going to find out, what the situation is here. So, you want to kind of take us there, Drew?
Yeah. So starting this week. For like I said, I mean at least a week and maybe longer. We'll see. I'm gonna be streaming a couple hours a day. This episode will come out on Thursday, so I'll have already done it probably twice. But the plan, tentatively, once we get going in earnest, is going to be streaming 11:30 to 2:30 Monday, 12:30 to 2:30 Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
This is Eastern time, right?
Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, and again, what was it?
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 12:30 to 2:30.
Perfect. Okay. Yep. And then I'm going to be trying to put together a little bit more of a schedule, and mine is going to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays so that we can make sure that you guys have pretty consistent content throughout the weekdays. And mine will most likely be, since we're going with Eastern time, we'll just try and stick with that. Mine will most likely be from about 6 until somewhere between 9 and 10 Eastern time, most likely. So you can do the conversions on that as necessary on Tuesdays and Thursdays, again, from 6 to 9 or 10 o'clock Eastern time. Depends on how much you guys like me. So
if we get this episode out early enough on Thursday, you could possibly watch Jeff do this tonight.
Sure, be great. So we've been having a lot of fun with people that have been coming out and everything to the streams, so to the couple of test streams, and we'll see where it is. And I'm, like I said, on Tuesday, on Tuesday I will have started my solo Moe's playthrough, so I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, I think I'll probably just continue with my Amara. So
sure.
I'm going to be a little ways into it, but not far enough into it to where it's confusing as to what's going on. So
sure, absolutely. So anyway, with that, I think that wraps it up. I don't think there's anything else. I think we're done with the episode.
What? How dare you?
Am I forgetting something?
Oh, maybe just the most important segment of the whole friggin' show. It's going, gun!
All right. Sweet.
So,
going, gun, maybe going, grenade today for the second time in its history. So,
It is. It is. We've got going grenade today. You would be disappointed if we didn't do a legendary from Borderlands 3, so we are.
Yep.
And it was tough because we're still literally 2 days into this game, but here we are. So what we've got is, and spoiler alert, I guess, if you don't want to be spoiled by whatever.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
So Nog Potion number 9 is a Vladoff shock grenade mod from Borderlands 3. It's a mission reward for completing technical Nog out, located in the Meridian outskirts on Promethea. It's always shock. A Nog is a new enemy type in Borderlands 3. It's basically like a quote-unquote midget from before, except for they've got like really big heads. I don't know what the deal with that is, but they're called a Nog, N-O-G. And the fun thing about Nog Potion number 9, when thrown at a Nog, it will turn them into an ally, and they will fight for you for 12 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
It's wicked.
It's really fun. It's really fun. So if you ever wanted, even more of a dose of, Pokemon in your Borderlands, this is kind of a fun way to do it. Except it's darker because it's with people.
Right. If you ever wanted the roles reversed in Pokemon, now's your chance.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really not a whole lot of technical info on Nog Potion number 9 right now. But that's pretty much what it is. Shot grenade, and if you throw it at a Nog, it's going to turn them into an ally for 12 seconds. It's super fun. The mission was decent too. I figured we'd go into the mission a little bit more this time since we don't have the technical info so much. The way it starts off, there's this character Lorelei. You have to check in on her friend Quinn. You check in on Quinn. He's fine. Spoiler alert, I suppose. Anyways, and then you gotta help Quinn develop these Nog-based grenades. And so it starts off, you've got a special vehicle that you gotta hop into. I don't remember the real name of it, but I'm gonna call it the Nog Catcher 3000.
Perfect.
Because it's a normal-looking technical, except for it's a normal-looking bandit technical, or heavy technical, except for where the barrel launcher would be up top. There's these giant, for lack of a better term, all-white Pokeballs. And you gotta drive up to some Nogs and huck these things at them, and it catches them. So then you take these Nogs back to Quinn. You have to, summon one. He does a variety of experiments, as you do in Borderlands, and he's like, oh, nope, that one didn't work because this kills the Nog. And then he'd do that a couple more times and you get one that works out. And as he's sending the data file over, you got to go ahead and fight off enemies and everything. But at the end of the quest, you're rewarded with the Nog Potion number 9. Is it gimmicky? Yeah, but for a little bit, it's hella fun.
It is. It's just so nice, especially because you can do it with like badass Nogs as well.
Yes.
And it's just really nice to be able to like throw a grenade at one, and all of a sudden they're like, and then it's just like, they just like start tagging their own guys. It's great. Right. It's amazing. So you don't know what you're missing until you've had one Nog fight another, and it's super entertaining.
It's so good. Watch how you're using the term Nog, though, because I don't remember if this was on stream or not. I believe it was not on stream, but anyways, so we're playing through, and we're having a tough time catching this one, and I'm like, get over here, you goddamn Nog! And Jeff's like, hold up a second, dude. Like, I know that's the name of the thing in the game, however, the way you said it makes it sound extremely racist.
There are just some terms that make it sound that way. Like, in games, like, made-up words like that just make it sound kind of weird and kind of so.
Yeah, and I'll admit, like, as soon as it came out of my mouth, I'm like, that's not right. That can't be doing that again.
Nope. Put that back in there. So
right.
Anyway, so with that is the first official going gun/grenade for Borderlands 3. And
wow, you didn't even say what the red text says.
Oh, the red text says, "That's a horse of a different color," which is obviously a reference to The Wizard of Oz. So,
Fun note, as I was typing up Going, Going, Gun, when I was typing this out, I made a typo and I put, it's a reference to The Wizard of Oz.
That's a whole different movie. Don't go look it up.
I found that really entertaining, and I was like, is that just an ox that's a wizard? Is he a wizard that only has ox-based powers? What is the deal with the Wizard of Oz?
Either way, whatever works. So, anyway, now with that, we're going to be calling it an episode. We're so excited that Borderlands 3 is here. We're excited to get into more content with it. And while it's not going to be on stream for those people that might be listening live on Twitch, because you can watch us record these now live on Twitch, we are going to go and play some more Borderlands 3 for the next several hours. So
Yep. So if you're watching this live, come join us. If not, watch the VOD. It's still going to be entertaining.
No, we're not going to We're not going to stream it, we said.
Oh, we're not going to stream it, right.
Cow.
Sorry. Sucks to be you.
Anyway,
watch our other VODs.
They're good. Ish. So anyway. All right. Thanks, guys. And Drew?
Yeah, we'll see you next time. Good luck and good drops.
Bye.